What's up, Haunters? I'm AwesomeAlex99, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out some custom Halloween decorations I've made, like these creepy stuffed animals right here. So let's get right into today's video. So to start off, let's look at the ones which I would say are my less impressive ones. They're not too crazy. First of all, I got my emoji ones right here. All these are just from McDonald's Happy Meals or stuff I run claw machines. You can see I've got the two little emojis right here, and I've got the two bigger ones right here. Let's take a look at these ones. First of all, these are from McDonald's, and I've added creepy little eyeballs to them. If you want to know how I do this blood drip effect, I'll get to that later in the video. And then I've also made these two, which this one's very similar but bigger. The eyeball did get dented on this, but this one I think is my least favorite I've made. And then we've also got this one, which I'm really impressed with how this one turned out. I love this little thing I used. It looks really crazy. I love how creepy that is. This one I think is one of my favorites. To do this, I think I just had a little piece of hot glue that I made, so I just poured a little strip of hot glue, and that's how I made this. So honestly, it turned out really well. And then after that, the next thing I want to show you is the other group of ones I have, which I wouldn't say are my most favorite, which are my food ones right here. I've got four of these guys too. Two of them are these pineapples. These guys I simply just won in claw machines. This one right here, you can see I added a creepy mouth to it. And this one, basically same thing, creepy mouth, but I do have the two eyeballs popping out. There's also a cookie I want to claw machine, which I added the eyes, and this blood drip effect, which I really love. And the donut, which this guy's crazy. So that's lots of my tiny ones I don't really care too much about. There's also this little dog right here. Nothing too crazy, just the ribs coming out. But now we start getting into some of the more interesting ones I've created. And the very first one, and what I would say is my favorite one I've created, is this guy right here. This is a little bear that I won at a carnival that I turned into this monstrosity now. And I love how it turned out. So I do want to talk a bit about how I made this and cost-wise how much it would cost. So as you can see, stuff I did to this, I added a leg bone that's exposed right there. His ribs are exposed right here, and you can see there's a little spider crawling on there. He's got a little hand that's exposed, and then his head, of course, is exposed. There's a little spider on that. And as you can see, there's blood everywhere. Even on the back, there is just lots of blood. So this guy is very simple. I made it. I bought this little teddy bear skeleton from Dollarama, which was only $2, very cheap. And I only have to use in the front of his rib cage, a hand and a leg and a head. So basically, I still had another half of this left. So basically, just $1 for the skeleton. These little spiders were $1 for a pack of 50. So for that, it's not really too much. Just like 5-10 cents for the spiders. And then all this stuff, I simply just cut a hole in the bear, took out some of the stuff in, and then hot glued these legs into there. So it does need a little bit of hot glue. That's something you need to get a hot glue gun, hot glue, which also sold at Dollarama for very cheap. And then after that, I just splattered some blood and painted blood all around the edges to kind of seal up that kind of like exposed paint. And I like how it looks around the outside. Then splattered blood all over him. So cost-wise for this guy, for all the materials, if you already have a hot glue gun and stuff, for all this stuff, I'd probably say it's a good $1 to $2. And then the stuffed animal, which I won at a carnival, if you want to win it, you can get first try, a couple bucks. But stuffed animals like this, if you don't have them lying around your house, if you just go to like Value Village or something, they always have a section of a bunch of old stuffed animals for only a couple bucks each. So basically, this guy cost like $4 to make, which is really cheap. But there's that guy. A couple other ones which I used a same idea for is this guy, where you can see I used the skull as the head. I hot glued it in, painted blood all around him, and used the spiders. This guy, the cool part is I had an owl skeleton, so that's how the head looks like that. And then also, I got the feet right here, which I love those feet. Look really well. And this guy wouldn't originally stand up. He's like this puppet guy. This owl I actually found over at Goodwill because I didn't have a stuffed animal owl, so I decided to go and buy one. Found this guy for $2. Apparently, it's from IKEA originally, this owl guy, which is kind of weird. But he looks great. I could have added more blood around him, but I think he looks really good like this. And is another one of my favorites I have. Another one where I used the same like skull thing is this guy right here. You can see I added the rib cage. This is the back of the ribs for the bear, I believe. So you can see I cut a massive hole in this guy. This guy at first, I didn't really like how he's turned out, so I just kept adding more and more blood. And now it looks crazy. I also added some of these eyeballs, which I tried painting some blood around. I didn't use my technique of using hot glue to do that. I just painted a little bit around, so it doesn't look the greatest, but that exposed ribcage right there, I love. And of course, for this guy too, I also used the bone technique. So in his hand, his little ribcage right there. Bones too, where I use the same technique, cut it open, hot glue it in, paint it over. Really simple. This guy also had little teeth, which you've seen me do for a couple of them, which these teeth I also make with hot glue. I just, on a paper, I do a little design with the hot glue, and then I just cut it out, make sure it looks all good, and then I have little teeth, which are really easy to do. And lastly, for my tinier ones right here, we have this guy, which is my most recent one I made, which looks awesome because of a light up feature on this guy, which is those light up eyes right there, which honestly look pretty crazy. I love how it turned out. So this guy, basically what I did is, it's an old Minion stuffed animal from Universal Studios or somewhere. And what I did was I cut the whole head off. I kept the hair though because I love how crazy that hair looks as one of the evil minions. And I took that hair, glued on top of one of these baby heads I found at Dollarama for a couple bucks. And the Dollarama doll head right here is all hollowed out in there. And there's a hole in the bottom. So I have these little lights that I was able to find at Dollarama for a couple bucks. I slid those in there, cut a little hole in the back, and then there's a little battery pack. And I love how that turned out. So this guy right here, I wasn't able to use in my last haunted house because I didn't make him in time, but this year I'm sure he's going to look great just because of that light up feature. And now lastly, we're going to be looking at some of the bigger ones I have. This is the first big one I made, which is the murder monkey, I call him, which looks crazy. You can see I did that teeth design to add those teeth on there. And you can see I had the eyes, which had the blood dripping from them. And a little bit of how I did that was basically I'd put hot glue at the top here, and I'd let it slowly drip down, and I'd make sure to add a lot up here so it would be able to drip down enough to have a lot of blood dripping down. And then I'd paint it over with red paint. I do a couple layers. This guy, I don't think I did a couple layers, so it isn't that strong, but after this I tried to paint more layers in each one to make it more strong, and it definitely looks kind of like realistic blood that's stuck on there. And you can see it has the crazy eyes too, which these crazy eyes, also from Dollarama. Basically all the little things I use for these guys are from Dollarama, so really cheap to buy. And a few other of the big guys I have right here, these ones right here. I've got the gorilla, which this guy uses this interesting design where I cut open a hole and put probably 2 to 3 sticks worth of hot glue just on there to give it a little scar. And I think it turned out well. I also used a skull up there, which looks great. I love that skull on there. And then right here, I've got the beaver, which same design with the bones, kind of. I have a big bone sticking out there. His rib cage, also have a little patch of blood right on there. And this guy isn't my most favorite, but I still like how he looks. This guy I was able to find at Value Village too. He's originally supposed to be this like animatronic guy, but he doesn't really seem to work well. But you can position his head because of that, and he looks cool too, I guess. And finally, the last one I have to show you is the penguin right here. This is an old little knife I had, which I used for Play-Doh when I was a kid. So I just painted it over and stuff, so it looks like a knife now with blood on it. Penguin right here, I cut out an eye and just put hot glue over it to make it look like his eye just fell out. He's got his other eye right here, and he's got some blood scars on his shirt right here, which this guy looks awesome too. So yeah, with all that said, that is it for my creepy stuffed animal collection. I do hope I can make more this season once Dollarama gets in their Halloween stuff around July. So I can't wait to make more of these. They're really fun to do, and I definitely want to have a few more to put in my haunted house this year in the creepy toy hallway because they look awesome. But with all that said, that is it for today's video, everyone. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I really want to get more subscribers towards Halloween. It would be a big thing for me. But yeah, that's it. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.